finished piece, I think, is going to be about 28 inches high. You always need some extra at the bottom and the top. So I knew I was pushing the limit of how tall this can go. So you've got this threaded bar here with the wing nuts, and then you've got these copper tubes that slip over the bar. And with the wing nuts, um, you warp it. You put all those threads, and I might be able to show you the end and the finish, but in any case, it goes around um, um, over the warp bars and back down and up and down and up and down and up and down. That took me about a week because generally I pull muscles or I just hurt myself when I warp, because that up and down is a lot. It's like doing a bunch of squats, and it just hurts. So I figured out how to do it to where I was able to warp it flat. I laid this thing down on the table with the warp bars and was able to warp it. But even that, it was about a bunch of back and forth and back and forth, and I get tired and whatever. So letting go of that thread means that it's going to not be as tight as it should be. So when you get done, you take your wing nuts and you screw this to where it's tall enough that it puts those thread under enough tension that they're not all wibbly wobbly and messing up. So I did that and found out I was pretty much the end. And let me show you. This I screwed down so that I wouldn't have this going on. But as you can see, there's not much here. I had it to where it was really close, and I was just really being careful. Well, I'd advanced the piece around. There's a way that you can advance it so you're kind of like rolling part of the image down and to the back of it, so that you're keeping your working field at a good level, so you're not scrunching way down or stretching your ergonomically, I guess, is the best way to say it. But in doing that, I tightened it a little bit too much, which felt really good. The tension was good, but there wasn't enough of this to keep it stable. So I had advanced it, and I was starting with my next row and realized I'd advanced it a little too much. And when it wrapped around, it was now, I had to squeeze my hands in between two rows of two layers of warp thread. So kind of like making my hand a sandwich in between this thread. And it put just a little bit too much pressure on it. And this thing being right at the edge anyway, it said, hello, and it fell back. See if I can do this without killing myself. And literally went over my head. I think it hit my head a little, but it wasn't like painful. But all those threads were covering me, and so I was like under this tightening piece of threads, and the threads are basically fishing line. It's like a monofilament or a multi-filament nylon line. So it's not as easy as picking it back up and putting it back on, which I tried, because I've got all these threads in my hair and in my glasses and everywhere else and caught in my clothes, and I just couldn't get out. So I had to take it off, take it down, and I was left with a mess. So Ouch. It didn't hit me, but it was loud enough that it made me say ouch. So what I'm doing now is, well, I'm trying to turn these down so that they don't accidentally fall when I set it down, because Oliver's right here. I don't want to clunk him with this heavy piece of metal. So for this next one, I'm going to see, you can kind of see the size of it, because it's a big piece that I'm working on. So this, let's flip this around. Hello, taking a tour of the house, of the room. And, oh great, so I can't see. So you can kind of see the size of this loom. Here's the new loom that if I had just waited, I would have been able to string it on this one. But I couldn't wait. I had to do it. I don't know if you could see that or not. I'll take a look at this before I upload it. So I've got this big, beautiful loom, which is plenty of room. But I've got this mess. So let's see if I can show you the mess as I'm trying to, come on, where are you? Oh, it's caught on that. Warp thread, these are the ones I've actually been able to put together. Here's the part I haven't, and I don't think it's really showing, but there's this whole big mess that I've got to try to figure out. Can I get it back on the warp bar? The new warp bar is the right width for the new loom. And after I get those 300 loops back in place, then I've got the 300 loops at the bottom that have to also wrap around. So let's say this is the space. This is the space between the top and the bottom of the loom, and this is all open. So your warp needs to come around, and there's a warp bar on the back, and the same thing at the bottom. The loop comes around, and there's a warp bar at the bottom, and there's cord in between those that hold those steady. And you can't, you got to have it in holding in place. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if it's going to work or not. I have the piece all wrapped up, so I don't want to undo it because I'm trying to keep those bottom threads from getting tangled with the top threads, because the top threads are enough of a nightmare as it is. So I've been fighting it, and I get frustrated, and I put it down and I walk away. And I've got a few on there. It's maybe a quarter of the 301 loops that have to go around that top bar. So I don't know if I'm going to have to give it up. But I had 90, I was working on row 92. So I had 91 strung, which was about 6 inches worth out of 430. So if I have to undo it, I have to undo it like one bead at a time so that I can put it back into the proper wells. I've got 95, 6, 7, 98 colors that I'm using in this one. So it's getting those all in the right place. And with the fine shading that I do, it's really hard sometimes. So it's like I gotta kind of undo the whole pattern to make it work. So I don't know if it's gonna work or not, and I'm just kicking myself for not being patient. I don't even think I'd ordered that loom at the time and wasn't quite sure when I was going to order it. I was kind of waiting for some things to be in line before I could do that. So that's the loom mishap, and yeah, so think good thoughts, think good untangling kind of thoughts, and we'll see. So if I have to start over, it's going to be, it could be a couple months before I'm actually have undone all of those rows. Um, that's about $100 worth of thread, and I don't want to even guess how much. Um, I'd say a couple $100 of beads so far, and I don't want to just trash them. So I'm trying to make it work, and if not, I'll probably have to, like, cry myself to sleep a few nights and sing my own little pity party, and um, before I buck up and say, okay, I'm just going to do it this way, and start over again. Either that, or I say, forget this particular image. I'll just start new with something else. It'll make me all happy. But I was really liking the way the image looks. So I know it didn't look like a lot, as you can see from my previous videos, but it was speaking to me. So I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, that's what's up here. And stay tuned. I'll let you know how it goes. Thanks so much. Bye.